everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having an amazing weekend. And look, we've been busy in the garden making great big puddles. So last weekend, before the rain came, my partner Kate and I hired a big, well, it wasn't a big, it was a very small skid steer digger, and we moved all of the compost that was here and we put it over there, and we also managed to make the ground really wet and ooky in the process. We need to make this nice and flat and into a parking space so that we can get extra cars here. The problem is that the digger that we hired was not very good at leveling the ground, and I'm not an experienced digger driver, so while we were able to move all the soil, we royally screwed up the rest. So you can see right here, there are some puddles here. The Honda is sort of sitting in a puddle, and I really desperately want to get this worked on, but I don't have anywhere to work on it. So maybe if we flatten this out and I can maybe put up a temporary structure, then I can work on that more easily. We did that, and I know this is partly not a chicken and garden update. We did that because the F-150 Lightning needs to be parked there in order to have the home integration system working. Now, it's currently driving a test load in the garage. We had some issues this week, which were just teething problems, which we will cover in a later video. But right now, this is the Sunrun home integration system. It's nice and warm. It is currently taking power from the truck and feeding it to about 1.5 kilowatts of load inside the garage. It's just a little heater that we've got in the garage, just testing the 110 volt system. The span panel is not active yet. It's not fully commissioned. It's only sort of there. They're going to come back next week or maybe the week after and make sure everything works. As far as we know, it's the first time the Ford system and the span system have worked together. So there's just a bit of a learning curve for our electricians. So they're going to come back and work on this again next week and hopefully get the Ford system so that it's working 100% happily all of the time. Yesterday when they tested it, it wasn't. Today it's working. So whether there was a software update overnight or something, I don't know. But that is the fun thing that's been going on that's got nothing to do with the garden. But over here, let me show you what's going on in the garden without falling over in my flip-flops, because who doesn't walk around the garden in their flip-flops in rain? We've got our winter oats are coming up at last. The winter oats are looking amazing. They are popping out of the ground and they are going to be a cover crop, but also they're going to be very popular with the chickens. The transplanted strawberries, some of them have died, some of them are doing okay, and I guess I'll just have to wait until the spring to find out which one of those, what happens next. But we also have, I believe, that's some of our garlic coming up, which is super exciting. And here, I need to go through and thin out some of these. We've got our broccoli and, not broccoli, our winter cabbage, and we've got some swede, or rutabaga as they call it over here, and we've also got some turnips. They're all coming up, which is lovely. Here, we've got some carrots coming through. These are the beginnings of our carrots, and again, I will be thinning these out. If they grow, fantastic. If they don't grow, that's okay. We also have our broad beans coming up right now. They seem to be happy. The soil was still warm when they went in, and that's the good thing. So hopefully they will survive the winter. If they don't, they are a cover crop. They've helped me get things done in the garden, so that's good. I haven't had any of my leeks yet, but you know what? We need to take some of these up because I would like to very soon. Everything else is growing as you would expect. I expect some of my herbs to die off during the winter, and my beans, my runner beans, are still producing beans, which is bonkers. We should have our first frost this week, so it's not clear if or when that will happen, but if it does, hey, that's going to be quite an achievement. I also believe that we are going to see some pretty cold weather this winter, so I hope the chickens are ready for it. I hope everyone else is ready for it. My partner's going to go and get some milk, but no supper yet. I suspect she's going to go and get the supper later on. We'll have to wait and see. Curry tonight, maybe? She's nodding her head. I like that. So obviously you're watching this on a Sunday morning, but it's Friday evening when we're preparing this. Checking the chickens. Nothing in the chickens. We did have several eggs laid today, so that is good. And instead of taking the truck, my wife is taking her car. I thought you were going to take the truck. Oh well. So we've got plenty of stuff going on, and I'm just going to show you over here what's been going on with the rest of the stuff. I've closed up the greenhouse at last. The greenhouse is done. My Auntie Rhinums, or Uncle Rhinums, as my mum calls them, they're still doing okay. My fuchsia's still doing okay. Everything else over here is still okay. I need to dig up some of the horseradish. All of the rain we've had this week, we had lots of good rain, and it's very awesome. The rain has been great because it's helped my potatoes recover from the deer attack, and that's still really healthy potato growth. So I'm hoping underneath you've got some lovely tubers growing on both these and these. My parsnips have kind of given up for the winter. I think I mentioned that last week. There's really not a lot else going on, and I think I've had most of the really big ones. So these ones are generally pretty small. So we'll see if any of the parsnips actually come out. I will say though, the parsnips have been a bit of a success because the parsnips have been really large and tasty. We've not had as many as I would have liked, but c'est la vie. The good news, the really amazingly good news, is that the grass is finally growing. And if I walk over here, as my wife heads off to go and get some milk from the farm, we finally got some greening of the lawn at last. So if I kind of show you over here, you'll see that these areas which were really horrible and just barren are finally starting to grow, and that's amazing. Also though, we have some sad news, namely this. This was a Japanese maple that my wife and I planted a couple of years ago, and we really loved having it in the garden. And it was either eaten by gophers or a delivery driver drove over it, and I suspect it was a delivery driver, which is very sad. I'm very disappointed. Our hedgerow is regularly getting driven over, and I don't know if it's going to survive. We may have to replace some of these and actually put up a temporary fence until things have grown a little bit. I think that would probably be the smart move. But there we go. That is a very wet and cold chicken and garden update. But anyway, that is it for today. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the video description, and if you really like today's video, why not leave us a super thanks? It's easy to do, and everything you do send goes towards helping us make amazing content. If you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed to this channel and our main channel. I remembered it this time. Transport Evolved is the main channel, and give the bell a gentle ding to be told when our next video goes live. And before I go, do check out our regular sponsors, Unspun, Energy Sage, and the lovely folks at UGears. Get any of those companies or support any of those companies, and you will in turn be supporting us. Thanks on behalf of the entire crew go to everyone who makes this channel possible. That includes everyone who supports us on Patreon and YouTube, as well as those of you who just watch the content and share it. If you are a supporter at the charged up level, your name should be on the right, but if it isn't, don't panic, it will be very soon. We've got a new render coming up next week. And thanks to our self-driving tier supporters, Mike Weeder, Patrick Boyarsky, Chris Maxwell, Brian Newton, Michael Goad, Bennett Elder, Andrew Martin, Pedro Mio Pinheiro, Brophy Wolf, Chris and Michael Johnson, Tazza in the Gong, Dan Blair, Peter Dillinger, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Denny Hyde, Chris Ascenta and Jim Burness. And of course, super out of this world thanks to our Starman level supporters, Andrew Glenn, Anonymous Freak, JP Fagerback, Joe Bresney, John Lyons, Rory Litwin, Karen Burrowbridge, Laura Reynolds, Marcel Ward, Matthew Drobnak, Paul Conway, Reggie Watts, Will Graylin and Ian. If you would like to join that amazing list, it's really easy to do. There are links in the video description, from our Patreon through to our YouTube membership, through to Bitcoin, Ko-fi, or buying something cool from our swag store. There will be another chicken and garden update next weekend, and I will be 1 year older. That's right, it's my birthday on Tuesday, and I am no longer going to be the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep evolving.